Howdy folks, and welcome back to South Texas. This week, producer Seth Johnson is headed back to eastern Colorado. He can shoot a mule deer or whitetail. Let's see which one he gets. Stay tuned for more Brush Country Monsters.
As the producer of a show like BCM, Seth Johnson has many responsibilities, but things were about to get more interesting for him.
2013 was an excellent year for me. My wife and I welcomed the birth of our daughter, Nora. This meant I was going to be spending a lot of time at home. My wife was nice enough to let me go on the hunt knowing that we only had a few-week-old baby back at home. That one hunt I had booked was in eastern Colorado with Earl Osterling of Out West Adventures.
Whitetails just hold a special place in my heart. They're a great animal. I mean, they're tough to hunt, but they are huntable. A big animal is huntable if you can put the time in, or if you can find someone that can put the time in.
If you remember last year, Alan Rovig of McWhirter Custom Rifles and I both came out here and hunted with Earl and both took awesome bugs.
Stop.
We took the shot, the deer dropped in his tracks, and we had a great Southeast Colorado trophy on the ground after 6 hard days of hunting.
The deer turn profile, I felt really comfortable with my shot. I said, Chase, are you ready? He said, let's go. Squeeze the trigger, boom, buck drops right in his tracks.
Buck down! Oh, I'm excited.
And guys, I'm telling you, if you know me, I get excited, and I was really excited about shooting this buck.
Oh man, that was intense.
Well, it is that time of year. It is late November. Chase, the cameraman, and I, we just landed in Denver. We've got a rental car. We are headed to eastern Colorado to hunt giant whitetails with Earl Osterling of Out West Adventures. Alan and I had both drawn tags the year before, but 2013 we weren't so lucky. This meant we were going to have to buy landowner tags, which is an additional cost. But we knew what was in the area, so we were up for it. Earl only had one for early season and one for late season. So I took the late season, Alan came out in the early season. Did not draw this year, but luckily Earl has a landowner that has some vouchers that we can pay for. So I bought the landowner voucher from the farmer, and I'm able to hunt that specific property, and we're all set. We are at the local gun range. I love to shoot 185 grain Burger VLD in this gun because it is incredibly accurate and there's not a whole lot of drop. Okay, here in eastern Colorado, we are at 3,410 feet on our altitude. At home, I live in Middle Tennessee around Nashville. I'm at around 600 feet on my altitude. And the day I sighted in my rifle, it's around 60 degrees. Well, today, here in eastern Colorado, it's about the same. It's around 50 degrees this morning. It's warmed up, but we're at 3,400 on our altitude. So I'm pretty much anticipating this rifle shooting a little bit high here. So I need to adjust my point of impact to get it back to 0. I'm shooting my McWhirter 300 Ultra Mag with 185 grain Burger VLDs. It's shooting around 3,218 feet per second. What I need to do here is check my point of impact, get square and zeroed at 100, and then it's all going to perfectly work out with our rangefinder. Now this year we partnered up with G7 and their BR2 rangefinder, and this is one of the coolest tools on the market, so I want to talk to you about it and how it works. This rangefinder, what's so different about it is it actually stores the ballistic profile for up to 5 different rifles. What this rangefinder does that's so significant is it will tell you a shoot to distance based on the atmospheric conditions of your current location. So my rifle, I have a 400 line in my rifle. I may range my target. It may be at 350 yards or it may be at 400 yards, but it may tell me hold the 350 line. It may say shoot for 350. That's pretty significant. That could be a couple inches difference, the difference in shooting high or shooting, you know, the perfect high shoulder shot that we're going for. So 3 shots down range and my McWhorter was dialed in. I was ready for the hunt.
Brush Country Monsters is brought to you by Hoffpower Auto and Outdoor Sales. 50 years in Central Texas, and we couldn't have stuck around this long if we were steering you wrong. McWhorter Custom Rifles, the most accurate hunting rifles in the world. Burger Bullets, shoot better, shoot Burger. Yeti Coolers, wildly stronger, keep ice longer. Miopta, European optics for hunting. See more, hunt longer. Chupacabra Rub, put it on meat, put it on veggies, put it on, Texas.
Inside you, there's an outside you. A you that finds your dinner by finding your dinner's dinner. A you that isn't afraid to pick a fight with something that has a sword for a nose. This is for that you.
When is good just not good enough? When accuracy is defined by a guarantee. When custom means exactly the way you want it. When confidence is the determining factor in the trophy of a lifetime. When only the best will do. Invest in a McWhorter custom rifle. The most accurate hunting rifle in the world. Learn more at McWhorterRifles.com.
It's been said Texas has a culture all its own. It's a culture born of hard work, long hours, and unbroken determination. But it takes the best trucks, tractors, ATVs, and equipment to hold up against the brutal Texas landscape. Hoffpowers have been in Central Texas for over 50 years now. And they couldn't have stuck around this long if they were steering you wrong.
Brush Country Monsters is brought to you by Big and J-Long Range Attractants, power of the brown bag, Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, real Texas barbecue, John Burroughs High Adventure Company, the been there, done that company, Hart Rifle Barrels, unparalleled performance, handcrafted one at a time. Hot Mox, pack some heat. G7 rangefinders, built for the first shot. Bushnell Performance Footwear, don't just wear them, unleash them.
About 25 degrees this morning, and we're going south looking for, going some open country, going to ride around, do some spot and stalk, see if we can see some mule deer, big whitetails. Since I had an either species landowner tag, I could hunt either a mule deer or a whitetail. He had been scouting and found a whole band of mule deer in this very specific area around this homestead. We saw a couple of bucks off in the distance, and CW says, I know how we can make a closer move on those bucks, so we're gonna go up here and cut around the backside of this property. It had just snowed here maybe a week before that. We turned off the road and we were gonna go off into this, he thought what he knew was another road to be able to go up the backside of this property and head off these bucks to get a closer look. And there was a snow drift there. Well, sure enough, you know what happens. Very first morning, maybe 30 minutes into the hunt, we bottom out and the axle of this truck bottoms out in this big snow drift. That's how it goes though, right? Yeah. It's hunting. We're stuck. We have no choice. He has to call his brother and come over and pull us out of this snowdrift. Luckily, that didn't take long. We were back on the road. You know, honestly, we probably lost 30 minutes maybe. He said, I bet those bucks are still up in that area. Let's see if we can make a move on them.
A lot of times they come down over into these weeds over here to bed down.
We get up right where he said he thought those bucks would be. Sure enough, there's all the does and there's one specific buck with them. We get within a couple of 100 yards and put some glass on them. It's a beautiful buck.
High 160s, 165. His fronts are kind of deceiving though because they wrap in.
Really tall, but weak on his fronts. Honestly, just not quite the mule deer that I'm looking for in Colorado. I know they got big whitetail and they also get some big mule deer. So first morning of the hunt, I'm not ready to pull the trigger on this deer. We put a few more miles down and we came to a new area and we saw a couple of does in the distance. We stopped, got out of the truck, started looking, and up pops another great looking buck, and this one really had me tempted. He was probably a 170 class. CW said he was mid-70s and definitely a deer that we should consider shooting. I did hesitate because I had taken a mule deer that's mid-170s before, and I just thought, I know there's giant whitetails, I know there's much bigger mule deer here. I just really wasn't ready to pull the trigger on the first morning of the hunt. So we get back to camp and we have some great lunch, and Earl looks at me and he says, you know what, we did some scouting, we saw some deer in an area, we think that there's a big buck here. Problem is we don't have a blind set up there for you, but I've got a plan. If you just listen to me, don't guide the guide, I think we can put you on a buck. I said, hey, let's go for it.
So we have a river bottom, tamaracks, and some cottonwoods. You notice we have a big hay barn in the back. We have these big alfalfa bales. What we're thinking here is we're going to try to push this big one over, make us a ground blind out of it, and catch them coming out into this. What do you have out here? Just winter wheat?
Winter wheat, volunteer wheat, yeah.
So we're gonna, I think that's a good plan right now. That'll give us a straight shot down that fence row, and I think Chase and I could sit in here, minimal movement. Look, man, this gives me that whole field of view right here. We're hoping that these deer are gonna come out under 500 yards here in front of us last night where we spotted them. So Chase is gonna be up here on top. I'm gonna be shooting either off this corner or down prone. So now it's just a waiting game.
It was warm. We're talking 50, 60 degrees, and this time of year it should be below freezing. Deer activity was really slow. We didn't see anything till almost late in the afternoon. We had several does come out. We didn't see the first racked buck until way, almost late. Very little camera light.
Our setup looks like it's working, but hopefully tomorrow we'll make it happen.
Yesterday we saw 3 up-and-comers, and hopefully the big boy will come out this morning. So day 2 started just like the day before. We got in the truck with CW. We're going to cover a lot of ground, try to put our eyes on some mule deer. We saw quite a few more does, but not quite the bucks that we had seen the day before. I think we saw one mule deer buck, but he just wasn't quite the buck we were after.
Had some potential, but not quite what we're looking for. Fork's a little bit small in the back, and it's a good sign, a good start to the day.
We saw a lot of open country, a lot of really pretty picturesque areas, just not the deer we were looking for.
It's been said Texas has a culture all its own. It's a culture born of hard work, long hours, and unbroken determination. But it takes the best trucks, tractors, ATVs, and equipment to hold up against the brutal Texas landscape. Hoffbauers have been in Central Texas for over 50 years now, and they couldn't have stuck around this long if they were steering you wrong.
Two things matter most when selecting a hunting bullet: accuracy and terminal performance. With Burger bullets, you can count on pinpoint shot placement and extremely lethal performance, shot after shot after shot. Shoot better, shoot Burger. Find out more at burgerbullets.com.
Big & J is the first long-range attractant. Attractants are only as good as the distance deer can smell them. Big & J attractants feature a powerful, intense aroma that draws deer from far and wide. This intense aroma is the byproduct of a proprietary refining process. Put Big & J at stand sites during season, camera sites all year long. Pull deer from your neighbor's property, keep deer on your property with Big & J. The aroma is super strong, the range is super long.
Seth is a couple days into his hunt in Colorado. The weather is much warmer than anticipated, which has really slowed down deer movement.
Very much on the warm side for early December. It was probably 50, 60 degrees, but we knew what was in the forecast.
As he wraps up his afternoon hunt in his newly constructed blind, he's really hoping things pick up soon.
The weatherman was saying that by the end of the week it was going to be below freezing temps. Things were just going to get better and better as the hunt was progressing. We're back at it again on our third morning. Still got kind of warm temps for this time of year, but you know, we've been consistently seeing some mule deer the last couple of days. Still haven't seen the one we're looking for specifically. So we're hoping today he makes an appearance and we can finish up this hunt. We're in the truck with CW. We make our way out to the open country that we're hunting. We see some more mule deer. We saw a few more mule deer bucks that we had not seen the previous 2 days, but again, they just weren't quite the shooters we were after. Hoping the weather's gonna change, and this afternoon we're gonna get back on the whitetails and hunt food and hopefully get a good buck.
For the afternoon hunt on day 3, Earl and guide CW decided to change things up a bit.
The afternoon of day 3, we were gonna try something different. The hay bale blinds had just not quite produced the 2 days before.
Earl had spotted a few bucks far off in the distance in another field, so they decided to move Seth there.
So CW and Earl and cameraman Chase and I, we devised a plan. We're gonna go down one of these irrigation ditches and just put a pop-up blind right in the middle of it. We had the blind set up about 400 yards from the river edge, from where the deer would pop out onto the property that we were allowed to hunt. I knew it was going to be a perfect scenario. I could shoot maybe 800, 1,000 yards to both the east and the west. It was going to be a perfect scenario.
You know, not too long ago, everybody that'd call in, they wanted to shoot the fastest bullets they could get out of a caliber. And in order to do that, they'd want to shoot the lighter bullets to get their muzzle velocity way up, thinking that was the best way to go. But, you know, we started shooting these Burgers, these high ballistic coefficient bullets, and we really like the heavier for caliber bullets now for a number of reasons.
Well, several years ago, everybody wanted to go fast. Now everybody realizes that to shoot that extended range, you need a bullet with a better ballistic coefficient, and the heavier for caliber bullets have the better ballistic coefficient.
Which translates into better trajectory, more energy along the whole course of the bullet, and less wind drift.
Right, and the wind drift to me is the big thing because you can predict the drop of that bullet. It's hard to judge wind drift. in the field practically. So if you can make that bullet drift less in the wind, you got a better chance of hitting what you're aiming at.
And the energy is going to be a whole lot better with the heavier bullets. You know, 1,000 foot-pounds of energy is generally what's accepted to kill a big game animal. That light, fast bullet, you know, say in a 30 caliber, 300 Ultra Mag, it's going to give out energy at 600 or 700 yards. And people say, well, I won't shoot that far, but it's got that much more energy all along the whole course of the bullet.
Yeah.
So you've got a heavy for caliber bullet. It's going to overtake that bullet in trajectory. It's going to have more energy during the whole flight of the bullet, and it's going to drift less in the wind. So, I mean, that's what we prescribe nowadays. And with the advent of the holdover reticles and the clicking reticles, you're going to have precision bullet placement anyway based on your actual ballistics. So, I mean, that's the way we feel like we should go.
Well, and that's what in actuality works best. You get a better end result shooting the heavier for caliber bullets because of the wind and other factors.
So that was then, this is now, and that's what we prescribe, and that's the On Target Tip of the Week, brought to you by McWhorter Custom Rifles.
As a professional hunting guide and camp manager for 18 years, there's two things you can trust me on: big deer and great food. My camp, I know exactly where to go to get great seasoning. Chupacabra rub. It's a true seasonal made by true Texans and award-winning pitmaster Alton Paris and Jay Hanslick. All meats and vegetables become unforgettable meals when you use Chupacabra. For 20 years, an uncommon name with the uncommonly great flavor you're gonna love.
Put it on me. Put it on veggies.
Put it on Texas.
When the light is low, that's when you find them. Scouting endless hours till I choose just the right one. I'm Lamar Smith, and I'm hunting a brush country monster. Out here, seeing is truly believing. Mayapta rifle scopes, binoculars, and spotters with twilight-optimized optics give me an advantage to see more and hunt longer when I'm hot on the trail of that monster buck.
I've got another job for you.
If you fail me, they're all gone.
Big order. I'm on it.
We need this to work!
Get it now!
I have it under control! I got Rudy's!
Dad, you can order Rudy's Barbecue online.
Rudy's now shipping nationwide.
Even though Seth was all the way in Colorado, he still had the opportunity to enjoy a Texas tradition. It was Rudy's night, thanks to Rudy's Anywhere.
It is Rudy's night here in eastern Colorado. We had Rudy's Anywhere send us out some smoked turkey, some St. Louis style ribs, and some of their sausage. This is cold weather, guys. I'm talking 0 with a wind chill of like -20. It is way too cold for me, but luckily we have the hot mocks, we have the scarves, we have the boot covers. You can tell by the way we are dressed that the front has finally made it. We get all bundled up, get in our blind, and hope that these deer are going to move early that afternoon and try to make this happen. We're not there maybe an hour and a half and we start seeing deer filter out. We have lots of does, a lot of younger bucks, and then out starts popping one buck and there's another buck right behind them, and then here comes a third buck. And each one they kept getting larger and larger, and the last one I could see a big frame on this deer, and when he turns he has really, really long main beams all the way out past his nose. Now Earl had told me that there are some huge bucks in the area, but there also have been some really big 8-points that were great trophies. They're just not going to score as high as some of the other deer they have in the area. I thought, you know what? I'm freezing. This is down to the last day of our hunt. It is 0 degrees out here. I want to take this buck. I got the rangefinder out and I'm trying to range the deer. My hands are shaking incredibly. I get a range around 400 yards. All right, I'm gonna use the 400 line. My McWhorter is more than capable of that. He's working his way left. Okay, my hands are getting colder and colder. I can't feel them. I have to take a pause and try and find a hot hand so I can squeeze it and get the feeling back in my hands. I can hardly feel my finger because I can't even feel the trigger to pull it. It is so cold. The deer turns broadside, I get on the gun, I squeeze the trigger. Well, sometimes they say it's better to be lucky than good. Well, I was definitely luckier than I was good on this hunt. I shot really high on this deer. I'm telling you, it was just a tiny bit from being over his back, but it caught him right in the spine. That burger bullet actually destroyed his spine and shoved shrapnel all the way down to his chest cavity. The deer died right there. So luckily it was a lethal shot, but it was definitely what I wouldn't say superb marksmanship. Here he is right here. Now guys, I'm so excited, I'm pumped. I mean, if you've ever watched me before, I get pretty excited about a deer, especially when they drop in their tracks. Look at this brute. Oh man, I'm telling you, Eastern Colorado whitetail. I'm out here with Out West Adventures. Earl Osterling, my guide, it's been CW for the week. We've hunted mule deer in the morning and whitetails in the evening here on the river. I'm telling you, a fitting end to a great week in Eastern Colorado.
That was an awesome show. Until next week, always remember, keep God and family first.